Monday, November the 6th, 2017 to you. For today, I'm intending to refer to the mass shooting occurred yesterday at the First Baptist Church in Sunderland Springs, Texas. At 11:20 CST, 17:20 UTC, Mr. David Patrick Kelly, a young white man who had a record for assaulting his wife and her child, wielding a Roger AR-556 semi-automatic rifle and wearing a ballistic vest, began firing in the direction of the church as he was crossing the street from a gas station. Later, Mr. Kelly approached the building from the right while firing and continued to fire while entering the temple with worshippers attending regular Sunday service. Presumably, his target was his mother-in-law, who was not present at the church then. Overall, 26 people were killed and 20 others were injured. Miss Annabella Pomeroy, the 14-year-old daughter of church pastor Reverend Frank Pomeroy, was killed. A pregnant woman was shot down too. Reverend Pomeroy was not at the church at the time. Later, Mr. Kelly exchanged fire with a local resident and get injured. He dropped his rifle and fled in his car. The resident flagged down a car driven by Mr. Johnny Langdegedorf, who pursued Mr. Kelly for 5 to 7 minutes. The gunman lost control of his car and drove off the road in neighboring Guadalupe County. Finally, the gunman was found dead by police in his car from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Sunderland Springs church shooting is the deadliest one in an American place of worship. As it always happens after a mass shooting like this one, there will be some debate on gun ownership. Personally, I support gun ownership. If I were American, I would endorse the National Rifle Association, NRA. Not enthusiastically, but convinced that citizens have the right to defend themselves. It is not justice what I am writing about, but defense. I would like to live in a society wherein criminals should assess their physical risk before committing a crime. Notwithstanding the above, gun rights groups like NRA too often forget that weapons are not toys. Guns like Colts, Smith & Wessons, and Glocks may deceive by their beauty, but they are made for killing or for doing harm at the very least. If we are to own weapons, we should know how to handle them and, more important, how to use them. Those citizens who are unwilling to be trained on weapons should not possess a gun. I want to remark that concept, citizens. Gun ownership should be part of citizenship, or at the very least, the option to possess arms. But fellows like Mr. Kelly are evidently unfit to own a gun. Furthermore, those people are unfit to enjoy some of their rights as citizens, given their lack of judgment. Groups like the NRA ought to be focused on citizens rather than people in general, including mad blokes who could pose a risk for society. It is for defending against fellows like Mr. Kelly what gun rights are about. The world is still on.